Yo, what is going on, guys? AlphaGuard here. Today we're back with another video. Now in today's video, guys, I'm going to be showing you the best ways that you can improve in Destiny 2 PVE. Now, the new update of Season of Lost coming into Destiny 2, there have been a lot of mod changes, a lot of nerfs, especially to Anarchy, which really kind of changes the game in PvE. People are really running around trying to figure out which guns, which supers, which mods are the best to use during the Season of Lost. So this video we're going to be telling you guys how you can help improve in PvE so you can complete those Grandmasters when they come out, complete the raid, and do whatever other PvE activity that you're having trouble with. If this video helps you, don't forget to like and subscribe, put on notifications because we'll be releasing new videos hopefully every week, and also we're going to be releasing videos about the Triumph, the Conqueror seal, as soon as GMs come out, because we got 6 GMs we got to go through, so I'll be showing you guys loadouts and strats for each one of these, and yeah, so let's get right into the video. Alright, so for tip number 1, this is going to make this one very simple, and that is know your mods. So if you don't know what mods are basically consumables or upgrades that can go onto your armor, like recovery mods, targeting, ammo finders, and etc. And also in the 4th slot, there's a lot of different mods here. So what you want to really do is go through each mod, see what it does, and like right here, taking charge is one of the best mods you can have on your armor, because whenever you come charged with light, you by picking up orbs of power, and if you compare that up with something else enduring here, which we'll be talking about in a few seconds. So this is basically a counter tip, but know your mods and which mods work good together. So say I put taking charge on my chest piece right here, so that means anything, so if I go to my legs, anything right here with these gold things right here, or this, basically so this entire second page has to do something with becoming charged by light, with light. So if I become charged with light, so if I create an orb from my chest piece, so I create an orb, I become charged with light by picking up an orbs of power. So that basically means any type of orb, whether it be a masterwork orb, a super orb, or any type like that. You can have either high energy fire, protective light, extra reserves. All these different types of mods can benefit you in the PvE, especially this one right here, protective light. So if I picked up an orb with taking charge, I come charged with light, and that means I gain significant damage resistance against enemies when your shields are destroyed, which means when you're really weak and you're down to a red bar, that means you will take less damage from enemies around you. But also this consumes all stacks with charge of light. But that's basically it. Mods also on your artifact, you definitely want to make sure you take at least this full row. I didn't take the full row because I don't really like unstoppable sidearms, so I didn't take it. But you definitely want basically this entire first row. You definitely want unstoppable pulse. Always have an overload bow when it's here. Anti-barrier auto rifle and disrupting blade. Take the 2 scavengers. Ammo finders, passive guard is always a good one, especially with overload sword. Fusion scavenger, which is good with the past video that we just uploaded. I'll put a link in the description about how fusions are meta, or linear fusion rifles are meta in PvE. Same thing with unstoppable fusion rifles. Periodic embrace, I think I can make a use out of it, but I still, if I need to reset my artifact, I always can. And also particle deconstruction, which is basically the most amazing mod in this season with 1k infusions, but that is another video. I'll put the link in the description below if you want to go check out that video. But yeah, basically the first tip I can give you is know your mods and know which mods pair up with each other. So if you ever really just take a few, like 10 minutes or so, just to look through all the mods, see which ones do which ones you can pair up with which, and I'm sure you can come up with a lot of good mods connected together. So yeah, that's tip number 1. Let's go right to tip number 2. For tip number 2 is know your weapons, and with a little bit of a side note is know your nerfs and your buffs. So what that means when you know your nerfs and buffs is whenever a TWAB comes out on a Thursday, which TWAB is basically short for Thursday weekly, or I don't even remember what TWAB means itself. Oh wait, no, this week at Bungie. This week at Bungie, basically TWAB. It basically shows you what are the upcoming nerfs and buffs to weapons and what's coming up in the next week at Bungie. So if there's ever a patch note, they'll tell you what they're going to nerf, what they're going to buff, things like that. And you definitely want to keep track of that because, you know, when some people don't even know that the Felwinners was nerfed a little while ago. Also, it's just really helpful to know what things are being nerfed and buffed. Like the Ursa Ferocas were nerfed this past season update. A lot of things like that have been nerfed, and a lot of people still don't know it because they don't read the patch notes. So make sure you read the patch notes, or this week the TWAB every Thursday. Bungie released one every single Thursday. Make sure you read that. And when I say know your weapons, that means know the weapons that are going to be going good with your mods, which I just went over in point number 1. So if I'm using particle deconstruction, I want to use fusion rifles because that's what the mod does. And also fusion rifles do a lot of damage this season because I'm pretty sure some of them were buffed, some of them were debuffed or nerfed. But basically know your high damaging weapons like Xenophage, swords are always nice. Lemonarch when you're using overload bow. I can always keep going on and on and on about which ones are the best weapons to use with each kind of mod, but that's like another whole separate video. Or this video would be over an hour long. But with that being said, know your weapons, but also know your armor. Know your armor and what they do. So Helmet Scene 14, when I pop a bubble, it blinds enemies and grants overshield guarding blinds. So that means when I go into a bubble and I leave the bubble, I will have an overshield until it's been destroyed. What I'd mask is whenever I get hit by somebody first and then I kill them, I get an overshield. Eternal Warrior, whenever I pop a Fist of Havoc, I get an overshield. Things like that. You really definitely want to know which ones are going to be good in PvE and which ones are good in PvP, because in my eyes, I don't think you want to use Eternal Warrior in PvE because no one really uses Fist of Havoc. They use Falling Star and Thunder Crash because Falling Star increases Thunder Crash damage, which is really good. So make sure you know your weapons and your armor and your nerfs and buffs during the TWAB. So that's point number 2. So as for tip number 3 is simply one very thing I see a lot of people doing in strikes, raids, grandmasters, all that kind of stuff, is play your life in PvE. PvE is a player versus enemy activity when you fight with a fire team of either 3 or more, or sometimes you can even do things solo. But make sure you remember to play your life. You don't, if you're in a GM, you definitely want to play as a team, because Grandmaster is one of the hardest difficulty nightfalls. Ads will always hurt you. Your power level is capped at a certain level. Even if I'm 1350, my power level will be capped at whatever Grandmaster level is at during this season. I can't remember what it was. But remember to play your life, because I watch a bunch of other streamers and it pains me to see them when they're super weak and they still keep peeking enemies and they just get destroyed, and then they just say, "Oh no, I died." But that death could have been prevented, especially in Grandmasters. You want to make sure you have little amounts of deaths because you only have a certain amount of revives. Same thing in raids. Revives, you are very limited to. Everyone has one revive token, so if you revive somebody, you lose that token and you can't revive anybody else. Strikes, it's not as important. Nightfalls, it is important, because if all 3 of you die, you go back to your last checkpoint. But just please try and remember to play your life during these activities. Prophecy and Presage and Harbinger, all those, they aren't as important, but it's the same thing applies from the Nightfalls to them. If you die, every fire team member dies, you guys go back to your last checkpoint and you're gonna have to just restart the entire counter you died on, which isn't fun because you lose ammo, and it's just not fun to do something over again. So remember to play your life, play as a team, and yeah, let's go to tip number 4. And as for tip number 4 is always, and I can't stress this enough, always know what to expect in the activity you're going to be going into. Yes, there are going to be some times where you're going to barely know the encounter, and that's okay, but if you know the gist of the encounter, that's more than enough for you to complete it. I see it multiple times of people trying to carry people in raids that don't know what they're doing, but that's fine, it's okay to teach, but it would really help out the people who are carrying you if you know what to do, especially in the GMs. Know which enemies are here, what champions are here, what type of shields, void, arc, or solar are in it. Know what to expect in your activity, because in the long run it will really help you out. Because if you're going to a next checkpoint area and you don't know what to expect, like in the proving grounds, after you complete one wave of the big room, 2 tanks come out. If you don't expect those 2 tanks, you're going to be pushed up way too far, and you're just going to get obliterated. And since Grandmaster, you can't respawn, and your teammates are going to have to either 2-man the room, or they're going to have to risk their lives just to get you, which you don't want to have that happen, because that's very risky. So it's a very small tip, and you may even say it's not a tip at all, because, you know, obviously I'm going to go into an activity knowing what to expect, but some people don't do that, and it makes it really hard for the carriers. Please, it's always easy to make a video on it. You can always just type out how to complete Vault of Glass in Destiny 2, how to complete Prophecy in Destiny 2, things like that, and these videos are very highly detailed, and they can always help you. Those videos are there to help you, not just for people to get views on them. So remember to always try and figure out what to expect in your activities you're going into. So that's tip number 4. Let's go into the final tip, number 5. And for the final tip, number 5, is basically a 2-part tip. And tip number 1 is always have fun. PVE, you're not always going to be the best at it. It's going to take time to practice it, take time to know the strats, get to know your mods, everything like that. Like, I wasn't naturally born really good at raids or nightfalls. I had to go through a lot of trial and success. I died a lot. I got called bad a lot, but you know, don't let those people let you down. So just remember that always have fun in PvE. Player versus enemies, not like an extreme mode in Destiny 2. It's basically the cornerstone of Destiny 2. But if you just remember, it's all for fun. It's just a video game, and just trying to have fun. So for a side note is, basically, play with friends. If you're not comfortable with going into an LFG group, and if you've messed up, I know the LFG, they're going to tell you you're bad, and they're going to put you down. Try and play with friends. Playing with friends is always more fun than playing with random strangers on LFG. And, yeah, that's really tip number 5, is just have fun and play with friends. And just remember, PvE, you're not going to be great at it just as you start. It's going to take time to practice it. It's going to take a few attempts to complete a raid. It's going to take a while to complete your first Grandmaster. All those type of things are going to take time, and all you got to do is be patient and keep practicing at it. So hope you guys enjoyed this tips video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, put on notifications if you're new here, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Peace out.